Richard Coleman was one of the richest men in New York City. He lived in a world of glass towers, luxury cars, and endless power. To the world, he was untouchable, sharp, cold, and successful beyond imagination. But behind the gold and marble of his empire, his life carried a hidden wound, his son, Daniel. Daniel had been born with a disability that left him struggling to walk without help. Doctors, therapists, and endless specialists had tried to fix him. But Richard's millions couldn't buy what Daniel wanted most, a normal childhood. The boy often sat quietly in his wheelchair, watching other children laugh, run, and dance, his heart aching with a longing his father didn't fully understand. Richard, in his way, tried to make up for it. He bought Daniel the most advanced wheelchairs, the finest tutors, and the best medical care. But love wrapped in money still felt like loneliness. What Daniel needed wasn't equipment or doctors. It was someone who saw him not as a broken boy, but as a child who still had dreams. One evening at a grand charity gala held in the ballroom of Richard's hotel, everything changed. Guests in glittering gowns and tuxedos filled the floor. Music swelled, champagne flowed, and laughter echoed. Richard, as always, stood among the powerful, nodding politely but keeping his emotions locked away. Daniel sat near the edge of the dance floor, watching the couples spin beneath the chandeliers. His small hands clenched his chair. He wanted to dance, not to be perfect, but to feel alive, to be part of the joy swirling around him. But no one noticed. No one except Zoe. Zoe was a waitress that night. She moved quietly between tables, balancing trays, refilling glasses, careful never to disturb the important conversations of the elite. But her eyes, unlike the others, saw what no one else did. She saw the boy sitting alone, his face pressed with longing, his spirit reaching out while his body held him back. Without hesitation, she walked over. Kneeling beside Daniel, she smiled warmly. "Do you like the music?" she asked. Daniel looked up, surprised anyone was speaking to him. "I love it. I just wish I could be out there." Zoe extended her hand, gentle but firm. "Then come with me." For a moment, Daniel froze. No one had ever asked him that. No one had dared. But something in her voice, her eyes, told him it was safe to try. Slowly, shakily, he placed his small hand in hers. She helped him stand, steadying him, guiding him step by step. The ballroom fell silent. Every head turned. Whispers rippled through the wealthy crowd. "Is that the Coleman boy? Who is that waitress?" Richard's eyes widened in shock. His instinct screamed at him to stop it, to protect his son from embarrassment, to control the moment. But then, he saw something he hadn't seen in years. Daniel was smiling. Not a polite smile. A pure, radiant smile of joy. Zoe held Daniel as he took a step, then another. She didn't lead him like he was fragile. She let him lead, letting him feel the rhythm, letting him believe in himself. And together, under the golden light of the chandeliers, they danced. When the music ended, the room erupted with applause. Daniel, breathless but glowing, laughed in a way that filled the hall with warmth. Richard stood frozen. In one simple act, a waitress had given his son more than doctors or tutors ever could. She had given him confidence. She had given him life. That night, long after the gala ended, Richard sat in his study. The city lights flickered against the glass walls, but he saw only his son's face, alive with joy. He thought of Zoe. She wasn't part of his world, yet she had done what all his money couldn't. It unsettled him. For a man who controlled everything, this was something he couldn't control, the impact of kindness. The next morning, Daniel asked at breakfast, "Father, can Zoe come again? She promised to teach me another step." "Daniel, she's not a teacher. She works here to serve." "But she didn't treat me like I was broken," Daniel whispered. "She treated me like I could do it." Richard looked at his son carefully. The spark in his eyes told him what he needed to know. Later that day, he called Zoe to his office. She entered nervously. "You wanted to see me, sir?" Richard studied her. Everything about her was ordinary, and yet extraordinary. "My son hasn't stopped talking about you," he said. "I'm sorry if I crossed a line. I only wanted him to feel included." Richard's voice softened. "You gave him more than that. You gave him hope." She met his gaze. "Let them talk." All that matters is your son felt alive." Her words shook him. For the first time in his life, Richard Coleman wondered if his wealth had blinded him to what truly mattered. This time, Daniel begged his father to invite Zoe. Richard wrestled with the idea. But in the end, he chose his son's happiness over society's judgment. When Zoe arrived in a simple white dress, the crowd buzzed with whispers. "A waitress? Here?" But Daniel's face lit up like the sun, and Richard knew he had chosen right. As the orchestra played, Zoe leaned toward Daniel. "Ready to show them what you can do?" With determination, Daniel rose to his feet. Step by step, guided by Zoe, he moved across the floor. The ballroom went silent, then erupted in thunderous applause. Richard's throat tightened. His son was dancing, not perfectly, but courageously. And it wasn't because of money, it was because someone had believed in him. When the dance ended, Daniel leaned against Zoe, laughing with joy. Richard stepped forward, his voice low but full of emotion. "Thank you," he whispered. Zoe smiled. "Don't thank me. Thank him. He already had the strength. He just needed someone to remind him. True wealth wasn't in his billions, his towers, or his reputation. It was in love, in hope, in the courage to believe in others. And so the billionaire, who once measured his worth in money, discovered a far greater treasure, the bond between a father and his son, and the kindness of one woman who dared to care. From that day forward, Richard Coleman's empire would never define him again. His legacy was not the deals he made, but the dance that changed everything.